Thank you for being with me. I want to get into the possibility and likelihood of Alvin forming in the Eastern Pacific, what it could mean for parts of Central America and Mexico, plus heavy rain from overnight. I've been tracking that with you overnight, watching the comments in Trinidad and Tobago, watching out for big areas of rain that will develop in the Caribbean over the next couple of weeks. I want to show you the possibility of some development out of some of those areas. Thank you for doing me the favor and leaving your comments about what weather you have and taking the time to subscribe as we just nudge into the hurricane season pretty much at this point. It officially starts on June 1st, but several areas that we're watching together. As we work our way into the Caribbean, you can see some of the rain, these areas kind of flaring up. The brighter colors telling me we have taller clouds in those. We have more moisture, more rain, so flooding is a potential. Watching parts of Trinidad and Tobago from overnight and this morning, some additional rain is possible. We'll monitor some of the flooding, of course, the flooding parts of Guyana and Suriname. Scattered areas of rain possible. St. Vincent the Grenadines, Grenada, St. Lucia and Barbados. Not as much the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, back through Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis. But as the day goes on, we'll start to get some areas of thunderstorms, and that will include Jamaica getting some scattered thunderstorms as our day continues on. Now, shooting off toward the east, here's the coast of Africa. This here is the first tropical wave of the season. That's an area of rain and storms, not organized, but as this marches its way toward the Caribbean, it will eventually increase our chance of rain, and then we'll look out for the possibility of development. Now, this here is the possibility of development. This here is the European model, and you can see where the brighter colors are, the possibility of something forming. Not a whole lot in the Western Caribbean. Again, that chance is pretty low, 20, maybe 30% chance of some formation by late month, early into next month. I want to show you that near Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Belize, our rain chance will eventually go up. But as we flip over into the Eastern Pacific side, here's the United States, California, the Baja, you get back through Mexico, a very high chance of development just to the south of Mexico. We're looking at about an 80 to 90% chance of development. That would be Alvin. On the Eastern Pacific side, the first name is Alvin. As we work our way into the Atlantic side, it's Andrea. The Atlantic basin is the Gulf, Caribbean, and the Atlantic. So two sets of names. So if you hear the name Alvin pretty soon, that's on the Eastern Pacific side. I want to be clear about that. I don't want anyone getting alarmed that there's something developing on the Atlantic side. We'd be watching over toward the Eastern Pacific where those water temperatures are so very warm. 31 degrees Celsius, near 90 degrees Fahrenheit, but they are really warming up now, the Gulf and the Western Caribbean. And there's the Gulf Stream off the coast of the Carolinas. That's a warm water current that lifts from the Bahamas off the coast of Florida up to the north. That is also warming. We expect the water temperatures to warm this time of year. It has been so very hot, but they've been warming pretty quickly with that heat dome that's been in place across Florida and the Bahamas. It has been so hot and mainly dry. Now, areas of rain near Trinidad, scattered storms for us over toward Jamaica, Belize, we are on the dry side for the most part. Costa Rica and Panama, we're watching out for some rain today, but some of this rain will start to build toward Nicaragua by tomorrow and then shift off to the Eastern Pacific side. That's the area of rain that could develop into Alvin, the first name of the season. You see that rain building by Friday in parts of Central America. Spotty thunderstorms elsewhere for us. Dominica, we could get a couple. St. Kitts and Nevis, Cuba, pop-up shower or storm. But here's that rain building by the time we get into Sunday. You see it here. And then more batches of rain. Suriname, Guyana, Trinidad. We'll be watching out for that by the second half of the weekend, especially into next week. That moisture is going to build further. So we'll be watching out for the possibility of flooding. Then by Tuesday, you see this area here. So next week, that's when we could start to get some development. Here's Guatemala and El Salvador. I want to zoom into this in just a moment, but kind of flipping over into the Caribbean, you see here by the end of the month, this here is May 29th, as we've been talking about together, a big buildup of rain, still some of the rain around Trinidad. We're going to be watching out for increased flooding, a higher chance of rain as we work our way toward the end of the month. It's going to get more active, and then we'll watch together to see if anything develops. I'm not seeing any signs of development in the Caribbean at this point, but I am going to watch out for the bigger areas of rain that will be forming or heading our way by the end of the month, and then we'll kind of keep an eye out to see if anything does try to spin up into a tropical storm. Now, I'll zoom up to the United States and Canada in just a second. Here's what we'll try to develop. Here's Mexico, Guatemala, and El Salvador. This is the American model. The American, the European, the German models, the Canadian, I looked at everything. Most have exactly what this is showing. By Sunday, we'll get a big area of rain off the coast of Guatemala. So that is important because I need to monitor how close this gets. And you know how sometimes these things swing up to the north, so I'll be watching that. But by Tuesday of next week, that's when we'll start to see some development. Most of the models have this developing offshore and then into Alvin. Tropical Storm Alvin, possibility of a hurricane, but more so a tropical storm. Could be a low-end hurricane. And you see by May 29th, right in here, as we work our way into the following Thursday, you can see that buildup of rain. Now, some of the models, most of the models try to keep this over water, but this is going to be pretty close to land as well. So that's what I'll be watching to see if this kind of hooks up to the north. And by the way, I oftentimes get a lot of questions. Hey, if you have a system in the Pacific and it rolls into the Atlantic basin, does it keep its name? If it keeps its formation and keeps its circulation, it actually keeps its name. So sometimes we do get crossover systems kind of either way. So not that we're going to get that out of this. I just kind of wanted to answer that question. It can keep its name if it switches basins, but this is what we'll be watching for Alvin as we work our way into next week, how close it gets to Mexico. On the flip side of things, as we swing to the north, we had a lot of severe weather yesterday, as we talked about, parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, just as a sample. There's some of the rain, again, mid-Atlantic into New England. Outer Banks of North Carolina could get some water spouts today or a brief tornado. Then this rain lifts up toward New England. And look what happens by the time we get into Thursday night, tomorrow night, and Friday. Yes, some rain, Atlantic region of Canada, New England, but in here, parts of New Brunswick, Maine, even parts of Vermont and New Hampshire, there actually may be a little bit of snow sneaking in. It is going to be on the chilly side with that system. I'll get to the rain totals in just a minute. Here's meters, here's feet, this here, the wave heights. You can see the Gulf and the Caribbean. We're doing okay. It does get a little bit choppier though, as this is through the weekend, into the weekend. This here is by Sunday. Keeping an eye on those Atlantic passageways, just starting to get a bit bumpier out there. Nothing crazy, but the seas will gradually start to build some in the Caribbean and the Atlantic waters as we get deeper into the weekend. As far as the rain goes, this would be hit or miss storms. Again, still super hot. Temperatures near 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Parts of Florida back through the Bahamas and even Cuba. Cuba, we could get a couple pop-up storms. Jamaica, a few storms for us the next couple of days. Some of us will get them, some of us won't, but we could get a quick 25 millimeters of rain, those downpours that we've had in spots, if we do get rain. Meanwhile, the Cayman Islands, we have been so dry later this month, early next month. That's when we'll get a better chance of rain. Hit or miss showers and storms. Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, British and U.S. Virgin Islands, we could get a few. Same thing in Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's, Montserrat, Saba, monitoring a couple showers that could be around. I'll be watching your comments throughout the day. But here we go, down toward the southeastern Caribbean, spotty showers, St. Lucia, Barbados. But we get back toward Trinidad, we could get some spots of 3-day rain totals of 75 millimeters of rain or 3 inches of rain. And a lot of that's from last night and this morning, where we could get some isolated areas of flooding, and more of that moisture is going to move in. Here's Guyana, here's Suriname. For the most part, an additional 75 millimeters of rain. Could be a little bit more. 3 to 4 inches of rain will be possible for 3-day rain totals. It stays active. And then as we get into central Venezuela, kind of south, and parts of Colombia, still some flooding. Panama, Costa Rica, same thing, where we're going to get some activity around. But then it starts to lift up to the north. As I showed you, the rain chance will build near Nicaragua, Guatemala, and El Salvador. Not quite yet for us in Belize and Honduras. It's about to bump up gradually, but we'll get a better chance just a few days away, watching that where we need to get some rain. Scattered storms, much of Mexico. As we get toward Merida, though, Campeche, Cancun, mainly on the dry side across the Yucatan Peninsula. So 50% chance of scattered showers and storms today in Jamaica, a 40% chance tomorrow, but that rain chance stays next to nothing across the Cayman Islands, where we are going to be very hot. There's that 70% chance of rain, which a lot of us had from overnight, so that rain chance high, heads up on that flooding, and that rain chance is going to generally stay around. By the weekend, especially by Sunday, it's going to pick up again across Trinidad and Tobago. Barbados, hit or miss shower passing by. We'll do that again in St. Lucia, 20 to 30% chance of a shower. But as we work our way to Grenada, about a 50% chance of scattered showers and storms today. St. Vincent and Grenadines, especially our southern islands, a better chance of getting some of that scattered rain from Trinidad that will get a little bit closer. 20 to 30% chance in Martinique, starting to build in Dominica by Friday. We'll be up to about a 40% chance. 30 to 40% chance the next few days in Guadeloupe, Antigua, Barbuda. Rain chance just kind of staying isolated. A lot of us stay dry, but a passing shower possible. St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, mainly on the dry side. Anguilla and St. Bart's, rain chance stays very low. Stays low as well. St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. 40% chance, though, of some scattered showers and thunderstorms possible. Parts of Puerto Rico, rain chance holding at about 20%. U.S. and British Virgin Islands. We are hot and mainly dry in the Bahamas. We're hot and mainly dry as we work our way back through the Turks and Caicos. Isolated storms possible in the Dominican Republic. About a 20 to 30% chance as we cross over into Haiti. Rain chance stays low for now in Belize, but eventually end of the week and the weekend, it starts to go up. We're going to start to gradually get that pattern change that a lot of us need with getting some rain back in our forecast. Aruba, rain chance 20%, 30% chance Curacao and Bonaire as we get through the end of the week. But there we go, at least the next couple days in Guyana, rain chance stays high. It stays at 70% chance in Suriname, watching out for additional flooding. Meanwhile, isolated storms and very hot across Cuba. Eastern end, better chance of getting some storms. There we go, rain chance starting to build even more so. Costa Rica and Panama, we're looking at about a 60% chance today. Look at Nicaragua by Friday. You see how that rain chance goes up. That's the rain that'll build in Central America and then shift off to the Eastern Pacific and could develop into Alvin. And you see on Friday in Honduras, the rain chance bumps up to about 40%. It gets higher as well. Guatemala and El Salvador, I'll monitor any flooding. 40 to 50% chance of scattered showers and storms in Mexico City. And then we swing back toward the Yucatan Peninsula where we are mainly dry and very hot. 50% chance of rain northern Colombia, 60% chance parts of northern Venezuela. And then we get back through Bermuda. We may get clipped by a couple more showers by the time we get into Friday. So it is definitely getting busier. Tropical wave out there in the Atlantic. Alvin possible, if not likely, in the Eastern Pacific. And we'll monitor together how close that eventually gets to Mexico. Western Caribbean, even Central Caribbean, a large area of rain will be building by the end of the month. We're just 11 days away from the start of hurricane season. Thank you for being part of this weather community and have a really good day ahead.